Download the BCSN Plus app today. Local sports all the time. Visit bcsnnation.com for details. Discounts may apply.
Has it sunk in yet?
Not even a little bit. No, not at all, honestly. There's just so much work that goes into preparing for this. A lot of logistical things that go on. And so it sometimes feels like as the head coach, everybody else gets to do the baseball, and I'm doing a lot of behind-the-scenes things, which is how I don't mind it. But, it hasn't really sunk in just yet. I'm sure it will on the bus ride home tomorrow or sometime, when things slow down. But, man, just so excited and so proud.
You were emotional right when that final out was made. Yeah. Of course, you're absolutely overjoyed that you just won a state title, but what was it about the moment that got you in tears?
The journey, when you commit to something the way that our guys committed to this journey, and then when you reach the destination, it's an overwhelming feeling of joy, and so those were happy tears. That was mission accomplished tears. But there's a lot of sleepless nights. There's a lot of me loving on those kids, but also chewing them out when they need it. Ask Jet Smith tonight. Got it at third base for not sliding in hard to the bag. We committed ourselves to this when the season ended last year. And I told the kids, our season ended what we felt was 3 weeks early a year ago. And so we started 3 weeks early this year in the weight room. And so this has been a pointed effort on a lot of people's part, and I think it's just trying to run through the snapshot of everybody that's been a part of this and helped us. And yeah, like I said, it's just an overwhelming feeling of joy that I just couldn't be more proud of our guys and our parents and the community, the school. It's a lot of work, and we finally got it done.
Going into the X's and O's a bit, in the state semifinal, you guys didn't have your first hit until the 7th inning, and here we are in the state championship, and your bats are hot right away in the first inning. What sparked that?
I think we've been close for several games now. We've been close to breaking out. We hadn't really gotten that big hit, the timely hit. But we've had productive at-bats. We've had, we're lining out a lot. We're getting runners on. We just couldn't cash in there for a couple games. And then, like we said, we manufactured when we had to, and it got us to this point, and that's tournament baseball, right? I mean, it's not going to be easy. But tonight, again, man, what a pitcher, the lefty, Cole Charles from Amherst. Sophomore, lefty, runs it up mid-upper 80s, and we knew he was going to give us a test, and our kids put some good at-bats together on him, put some pressure on, got him in the stretch, which was part of the game plan to see how he would perform out of the stretch. And it kind of, we got a couple timely hits tonight. We had some great base running plays, big hustle play by Benny Nikars, scoring 2 runs on a pass ball. Things like that matter in those types of games. So, yeah, I think we've been on the cusp of breaking out, and tonight we finally did.
The pitching. I feel like Owen Graff was so huge in this game despite the fact he did not throw it all. The fact that he threw a complete game in the state semifinal, how huge was that to have Owen play a complete game and then open the door for your 2 and 3 pitchers in this game?
Yeah, our pitching staff's been deep all year, and, Owen going – a complete game, 69 pitches last night. Well, I guess 2 nights ago now. That definitely gave us a chance. We came in and we had Jackson starting, which is what we've done all year. With Carter coming out of the pen, we knew we were comfortable with that. But I could go down the list of Cunningham, of Daniels, of the Madelinskis, Kellen Anderson. We've got guys in the bullpen that are on our tournament roster that we felt really, really comfortable with had we needed to get there. But when you have a complete game out of your ace and then a near complete game, 6-inning gem out of your number 2, Carter just came in and got the final 3 outs. But like I said, we could have gone to Cunningham or any of them, and we feel like we would have been in an okay position.
And you guys were up 7-4 heading into the bottom of the 7th? Or heading into the 7th inning?
7-3, I believe.
So you guys were up 7-3 heading into the top of the 7th. You gathered your team. You spoke to them. What was that message?
We kicked it around a little bit in the bottom half of the 6th, and we made a couple silly mistakes. And I just told them, in times of people press in times of desperation. They press in times of excitement. When the pressure builds, they feel like they have to do more than what they are there to do. And it looked like that to me. It looked like we were rushing a little bit. It looked like we were maybe squeezing the ball a little bit too hard when we were throwing across the diamond. And so just those little things. And I told them, I'm like, hey, we don't have to press. We're in a position where we just get to play baseball and enjoy playing the game the right way. So it was just a reset moment for us. Like, we just had to get back grounded. And I think that's as a head coach, that's on me to recognize that in my guys. And to some they might not have noticed it, but I could tell they were counting down the outs, and it's not a time of countdown. You just keep playing the game, and when the last out's recorded, then we can celebrate. But I think some of them kind of started feeling that, so I just had to push the reset button and get them grounded again.
And of course, as the playoffs go on, every game gets more important, every game gets more stressful. But for you, when did you find the time to just enjoy the moment? I know it's great to be here and you have a job to do, you want to win a state title, but even before you were raising that, when did you find the time to just enjoy the fact that you're playing for a state championship?
That'll probably happen like next week, maybe tomorrow. It hasn't happened. It's, like I said earlier, man, it's a lot of work. And so my goal as the head coach was that all of my guys and my staff could enjoy it and have those moments you just spoke about. And so I had to stay on the grind, and I had to lead, and I feel like that was my responsibility. So I'll enjoy it. I'm sure that when I get home and get a big hug from my wife and we things settle down and when I sit on the couch and watch College World Series, I'll probably be sitting next to this thing here.
So you're the one taking it home then?
Yeah, I ain't trusting them kids. I ain't trusting them kids. No, they can play baseball, but they can't take care of that.
Say no more.
No, so I will enjoy it. I made sure. One thing I did do, I took a lot of pictures. So no, it was awesome. I know there are aspects as I go through the Rolodex in my brain right now that I do appreciate and enjoy, but it hasn't quite sunk in. And I hope if you were to ask that question to all 22 players in the staff, I hope that they would all be able to give you a moment, but right now I can't.
When you were hired, you were already taking over a program that was one of the top ranked in all of Ohio. How was your vision for this team when you were hired shown tonight?
I think when we came in, the baseball culture at Anthony Wayne has always been a good one. It's been a strong baseball community for a long time, starting with our junior generals program. And Russ Acino, now the president of that, does a great job, and we have a lot of people invested in it. So these kids have come up through our program, a lot of them, and we've developed them. And so, although none of our kids on our team right now played for Coach Nell, who was the coach before me, he was influential in starting that program and getting those kids up. So it's just kind of been a pipeline of kids coming through, which with the importance of travel ball these days and so many club options for these kids, to have a strong youth program in our community really pays dividends. So I give a lot of credit to those guys for that. But no, there wasn't a lot of difference in the baseball. The baseball is the same. A lot of the signs and even, the signs a lot of times I'm guessing are probably the same, and it might be the same across at other schools too. What we really, really put emphasis on was developing a culture that we felt was a winning culture, and I got a compliment. I mentioned this earlier to somebody that someone made a compliment to me and just said the difference with Anthony Wayne is those kids will run through a wall for those coaches. And that really hit home to me because I feel like I would do that for them too. And that's the culture we were looking for, of we will do anything for one another, not just for ourselves. And that's what you saw tonight, I think, and in this tournament run was, if you go back, Cole Biedenharn, walk-off sac fly, Mason Jerwa, base hit, walk-off, Benny Nekar scores. Then, against Walsh, Benny Nekar gets the sac fly, and Caden Rouser, a sophomore on the roster, just a pinch run, he scores. Tonight, Jackson goes out and throws a gem. Last night, so it was just multiple people that were contributing to this accomplishment, and not one of us could have done it alone. And that's the culture. That was the vision, was to be able to build that, and I feel like we did.
And your dear friend, Derek Besgrove, yeah. You played high school ball with him. You guys remained best friends throughout. He passed away earlier this year. Yeah. What would he think of the performance that you and your team put up tonight? He'd
probably be giving me crap about getting two guys thrown out of third right now on those bunts. No, and I'm trying not to get emotional on it. Derek and I, especially as Bryce, his son, started to get a little bit older and get closer to high school, he and I would talk daily. lot of times just via text. I know I would have had about 100 text messages from him today, one each with a scouting report on every one of the Amherst kids, because that's just who he was, and he would have dug deep and made sure I had what I needed. He would have been one of the first ones to text after the game. I don't know. I miss my buddy, but I don't know. It's tough. It's tough, but such is life, right? And you got to go on. And I know that he's really proud of us. I know he's really proud of his boy, first team all district as a freshman. Clay made a state run. Look out for them in the next couple of years. And he had a big part in that and in my life too. So yeah, I miss him, but I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's tough to talk about.
How does he give you strength in the biggest game of your life?
Honestly, it was more or less. I had a moment in the hotel room before we left when I was reading all these text messages, and then there was a timeline memory that popped up with Derek's name on it, and so that was like I had a little moment right then. But once I got to the field, it was business as usual, And then Bruce asked me a question after the game, and it was I kind of got emotional on that one. I wasn't planning on it, but no, I think that it was just kind of one of them things where, like they say, you take things for granted, and I think that all those text message conversations that he and I would have, I think that now that I was in a position and my guys were in a position that I know that it would have been I missed those moments. I missed those texts. I don't think I took them for granted, but I would have loved to have a conversation with him prior to the game today, and I would love to be talking to him right now.
What would you tell him?
We won and a couple other things. But I can't say on camera.
And my final question for you: you had 13 seniors on this team, 13 seniors that gave their blood, sweat, and tears. What will you remember most about that group after winning a state title?
I remember the fact that they weren't. How do I say this? They came in highly touted, and we made them all play freshman ball together. And there was some of them that I think disagreed with that decision. They wanted to play on the JV team, but I made them all play freshman ball. And the reasoning was that they had to learn how to win together. I had a bunch of kids that had individual successes, but I didn't know how good of a team they were. And they needed to learn how to appreciate each other and appreciate being a role player in some cases. And they had to learn that. And the only way to learn it is to go through it and to practice it. And so I made them all play freshman ball. And we were winning games at the freshman level by ridiculous scores. Probably was a boring year of baseball for those kids, honestly. But then as sophomores and juniors, we watched them kind of grow. And then even as sophomores, a lot of them, we were a senior heavy team in 23 when we were down here last time. And so a lot of those sophomores were varsity capable, but they weren't varsity ready. And they needed to pay their dues, and so then they played a JV year. So a lot of these guys are like the traditional, and I think some people try to rush the process. They were freshmen, JV, and then 2 years of varsity. So the development was there, and I think what I'll remember most is that they stopped worrying about themselves, and then they bought into the process. And because of that, it got us to where we are today.
And that is a Division II state championship, Coach.
My man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Tournament Time on BCSN is brought to you by Med1 Care Therapy Partners, #1 in quality service and quality care.